Most men don't feel stuck because they're doing nothing. They feel stuck because they're doing too much. Saying yes, showing up, handling responsibilities, staying busy. But nothing that actually matters is moving forward. So they're exhausted and overcommitted, all while quietly frustrated. Not because they lack discipline, but because they don't know what is actually theirs to carry. This channel exists to help men get unstuck, mentally, emotionally, and practically. And one of the fastest ways to stay stuck is to say yes to everything and then feel guilty when you can't sustain it. So let's get to work.
Rise from the ashes. Fight for your legacy. No more excuses. It's time to win the war within.
Most men don't have a time problem, they have a clarity problem. And because they lack clarity, they say yes to things that don't actually matter. Their calendar fills up, their energy gets pulled in 10 different directions, and at the end of the day, nothing that actually moves their life forward gets done. Here's the problem. If everything matters, nothing matters. And that's exactly how most men are living. They're busy, but not effective. They're committed, but not progressing. They're saying yes to things that were never theirs to carry in the first place. And the result? Important work gets delayed, calling gets postponed, and frustration starts building under the surface. This isn't random. There are reasons you keep overcommitting. First, you don't have clarity. And when you don't know what actually matters, everything feels like it matters. Second, you don't want to disappoint people. So you say yes to keep the peace, to maintain your image, to avoid tension. But every time you do that, you trade your effectiveness for someone else's approval. And third, you don't have a decision-making filter. So instead of evaluating, you default. And most of the time, your default is yes. There's a name for this in psychology. It's decision fatigue. The more decisions you have to make, the more your brain looks for the easiest path. And the biggest issue is that the easiest path is yes. Add to that social pressure, expectations from work, family, the people around you, and now you're not making decisions based on purpose. You're making them based on pressure. This is why Scripture speaks directly to how you manage your life. Ephesians 5:15 and 16 says, "Therefore, look carefully how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." Look carefully. That means be intentional. Evaluate everything. You don't just move, you measure your movements. You don't have unlimited time, so you have to take control of it, or something else will. Jesus reinforces this thought in Luke 14:28. For which one of you, when he wants to build a tower, does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Sit down, calculate, evaluate. Before you build anything, you have to determine what it's going to require. And most men skip that step. They just say yes, and then wonder while they're overwhelmed halfway through. Here's the shift. Clarity creates restraint. Let me say that again. Clarity creates constraint. When you know your assignment, you don't struggle to say no. You don't need more discipline. You need a better definition. Because once you know what matters, everything else gets filtered out. Jim Collins said it this way: if you have more than 3 priorities, you have none. And that's where most men are. Too many priorities, too many commitments, too much noise, so nothing actually moves. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to give you a filter. Because you don't need more time, you need a better decision-making process. Even that language feels foreign to some of you. A decision-making process? And that in and of itself is a big part of the problem. Before you commit to anything, run it through this process. Number 1, does this move my core assignment forward? If it doesn't, then it's optional. Not everything is necessary. If it doesn't move your health, your family, your calling, or your work forward, why are you doing it? Second, is this required or just expected? Most of what you say yes to is not required. It's expected. And expectations are often unspoken assumptions. If nobody actually asked you, maybe you just assumed you had to do it. Number 3, most urgent things have no real consequences. You just feel pressure because you've trained yourself to respond. But pressure is not the same thing as priority. Number 4, is this replacing something more important? Every yes is a trade. Time is not expandable. So if you say yes to this, what are you saying no to? Your health? Your family? Your calling? Because something is being replaced. Number 5, now you decide. Cut, delegate, or delay. Cut what doesn't matter. Delegate what doesn't require you. And delay what doesn't need to happen right now. Not everything deserves your time, and not everything deserves your attention. You ever look at your calendar and everything on it looks important? Meetings, calls, tasks, responsibilities. It all feels necessary until you step back and actually evaluate it. And that's when you realize half of it probably never should have been there in the first place. And that's how most men live, busy, but not effective. If you don't fix this, you're going to stay overwhelmed. Your relationships are going to get the leftovers, and your leadership becomes reactive instead of intentional. You're constantly responding instead of actually leading. Colossians 3:2 says to set your mind on things above, not on things that are on this earth. That's focus. That's alignment. That's direction. You don't drift into effectiveness. You have to decide your way into effectiveness. Look, you don't need more time. You need better filters. Cut the noise, protect what matters, and move what actually counts forward. In other words, be different.
Whoa!